We are all set
Awesome.
with Bacon here. All right, first of all, Bacon. So why did you go ahead and call yourself Bacon?
The name? I
Yeah,
don't
where did
know,
the name come
man.
from? You like bacon?
I guess so. It's just what my child brain thought my online name should be. And it's just certainly a lot more convenient than reading out Tumee, for example, because that's quite a long name.
Wow.
That's just my first name, by the way.
Wait. Say that one more time.
Tumamasa.
Wait. That's your first name?
Yeah, see, it pops up on the Zoomer here.
Wait.
Cool.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there it is. Yeah.
Wow.
So besides Bacon, you guys can also call me Tumee. That's fine too.
Tumee.
Okay. That's a sick
Nice.
name. That's a sick name. So, dude, let me ask you, what brought you to join the Astral Kingdom Discord? Anyways, like what inspired you to join?
That's actually it's such a bizarre incident because I remember like half a year ago was it me and my friend, we were just surfing through online discords, right? And I just searched public discords into Google, click the first link I see, and there's just this list, right? There's all of these discords with thousands and thousands of members, and then I see Astral Kingdom and it has like 100. And for some reason I just decided to join that one and see what was happening, right?
Interesting.
Yeah, it's Alex to thank for that.
That's good.
And the next morning there was like a lecture and there was a meeting happening, and I just happened to join that and listen to a couple of those.
Wow, awesome. That's some divine timing, as the community would say. But
yeah, literally.
Geez, I mean, honestly, what's are you into like spirituality or anything like that, or are you just into the community aspect that Discord has to offer?
I think the community aspect that Discord offers, I'm just absolutely in love with. But in terms of spirituality, I'm not sure if I can confidently say I'm like this or that, like I'm atheist or agnostic, whatever, but like I'd say there are certain elements of spiritualism that I would consider as very practical to, study and learn about.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. So you're more in like the trying to improve your own lives, the kind of
exactly.
taking here and there. Yeah, I feel like we're all like that to one degree or another. And I say like the whole kind of like motivation behind like making this a spiritual DAO is that we just kind of value the human spirit, whatever that really has to offer, as opposed to like these material goods that like the metaverse and virtual reality and all that will eventually try to consume. So I think at the core, it's we're trying to get as many people involved with this as possible, but it's very general, I'd say.
Very interesting. All right, so Bacon, tell me, like, I'm just so curious. I mean, because I've never met anyone from Mongolia before in my whole life. How is life in Mongolia? I mean, like, what's your daily basis? Like, how is the culture there? How is it different from American culture? I'm just curious.
Well, see, I feel like a lot of misunderstandings is that for the most part, I feel like daily life is the same everywhere, right? I mean, I'm living in an apartment. I don't like come out of a circular yurt and go to school on my horse, for example. That is a genuine belief that some foreigners have asked me.
And I feel that too, man. I feel that too. There's a lot of uncultured people out there, but rest assured, Andrew and I are both very cultured individuals. Like, you tell us things, we'll definitely catch on. I promise you.
So I see. There's no problem there. So for the most part, yeah. My daily life is pretty normal. Wake up, right? Brush my teeth, yada yada. But I feel like where the culture starts to differ, like first of all, it's just food. Like culture is very different in terms of food.
Yeah, makes sense.
And I feel like there are a lot of traditional values that Mongolians uphold, which I'd say like for the most part aren't really too far to grasp. For example, I'd say there's this thing called Tachlamkadzang where essentially it's pretty normal to go around and just immediately visit a relative or a friend, and like they should just let you in without questioning it.
No way.
Interesting.
So I can just show up to your door and you'll just let me in and like cook me food and stuff.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, hey, Cam, glad of you to show up today. You just come on.
Wow. That's sick.
So do you live close to your family and friends? Is that kind of also part of it?
I mean, first of all, our capital city is really small. The city planning is kind of to kaput. So I'll always be close to someone whether I like it or not. But for the most part, yeah. My family, my cousins, my uncles and such, we all live pretty close together anyway. So
Wow.
Yeah, Mongolia is huge though, man. Like it's a massive country, right? It's a
and
pretty big country.
yeah,
I mean,
it's huge.
and it
17th
borders,
biggest country in the world.
yeah, if I'm
Really?
not, yeah, exactly. Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, it has a border with China, I want to say, right?
Yeah,
It does have a border with China. Does it have a border with Russia as well?
yeah,
Mhm.
China and
Okay.
Russia.
It's like right in between it, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the
what I
one.
thought. That's what I
Wow.
thought. That's what I thought.
Interesting.
That's
So
crazy, dude.
you live in Ulaanbaatar?
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm looking at Google Images right now. I mean, it looks honestly like, I mean, parts of it look just the same as any city in America that I would see.
Although something that will stand out about Ulaanbaatar is that since we were part of the USSR, if you go to the downtown area, there are still some Soviet blocks. All of them are just like identical from the outside, you know, just painted differently. You go inside and like the apartment planning and everything of all those buildings is like the exact same.
I had no idea that Mongolia was actually a Soviet state. I didn't know
It was for a while, I
like
think.
the whole
I feel
country
like
was a Soviet state. That's crazy. Damn,
I don't
the
think we
Soviet
were
Union was massive.
influenced as much. It was just more like they kind of just took us under their influence because you know we were right on their border.
Fair enough. Damn, that's crazy. And then, did you guys get independence? I'm assuming in '91.
Yeah, 1991. That's
Because I know that's Kazakhstan got independence in
Mm.
'91. So I was just assuming that Mongolia probably got independence there around that time.
Yep, that's right.
Wow. Was that like a big change in terms of your family, like how everyone just like operated or lived their lives there?
My parents didn't really mind. They said it was, you know, it was fun growing up in Soviet times, right? You know, you have to go to your local grocer with like these little food stamps to get your, you know, weekly rations basically.
Wow.
But then, you know, past 91, right, you know, they still continue doing their jobs, but you know, they just get paid like, you know, money that they can spend anything on. And you know, they can buy whatever cars they want, yada yada. And so for the most part, you know,
How much
I don't think
Russian
any
influence is in Mongolia right now?
how much Russian? I'd say everybody above the age of like 35 can speak fluent Russian.
Wow.
Jeez.
Oh wait, is it more like 40 now? Maybe more like 40 plus, but yeah.
Wow.
A lot of people speak Russian. I've tended to notice that Mongolians, we take on a lot of foreign influence really quickly. I feel like that's unfortunately because we don't really respect our own culture as much as we should. So for example, besides a lot of adults speaking Mongolian, I mean Russian, like basically everyone up to the age of 30 understands English to a certain degree.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Now, what about Mandarin? Like, is Mandarin big as well or no?
That's a touchy subject. I feel like there's a lot of hate towards like the Chinese here. I mean, we were fucking a Manchu colony for like 2 centuries.
Yeah. There's always some controversy when China's involved, dude.
Yeah. So you go to university there?
There's one main university. It's called the Mongolian, just the National Mongolian University, and it's got a lot of branches. Okay. Think of it like the University of California.
Gotcha. Okay. And like, what do you study there?
What do I study there?
Is it like a certain major that you kind of focus on?
Could I prefer not to say?
Oh,
I'd prefer not to say.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
that's
fine. No worries.
So like, I mean, I'm just trying to get at more of like it's Web3 and like crypto or like that whole kind of space big in Mongolia. Like, is that something you're interested in? Because that's ultimately what Spiritual DAO is kind of focusing on.
Well, as of now, I feel like Mongolia definitely took onto the NFT craze pretty quickly as well. You know, there are certain pretty large Mongolian marketplaces that have sprung up with, you know, still quickly growing discords. And when I went to the supermarket the other day, I actually saw a bunch of advertisements for like some of this new other marketplace coming up as well.
Interesting.
So I feel like I wouldn't say people have reached the point where like they're going around set you actually no, I feel like NFTs have reached the point where people are starting to integrate it into our practical lives, because recently a concert happened where the ticket was to show up with this NFT.
Wow,
Interesting.
that is interesting. Wow. See, that's like the future now. Wow.
Yeah, how do you feel about that? Is it something like you're interested in or eager about, or is that like it's just different or weird?
I think it's just the way of life here, because even though we're not exactly the most developed nation, right, and our population is small, and that's sort of unfortunate and fortunate in both regards. It's fortunate in the way that when something new comes up, like since the population is so small, everyone can integrate really quickly. So for example, no one uses cash for getting on the bus now. We have these things called bus cards. And so like everyone uses that. Basically not many people, like, well, everyone uses cash, not to the same extent as before. Everyone just uses mobile payments and such.
Yeah, I think it seems like it's ultimately for the best. There are a lot of like travelers there, like tourists or anything like that, or have you ever left the country?
I've left the country a couple times. I've never been outside of Asia though. And in terms of tourism, well, I mean, I guess there are foreigners here and there. I wouldn't say like, besides during summer, like not a lot of tourists would show up.
Interesting.
Wow.
So would you say that Mongolia is like a fairly free country?
Yeah, of course, bro. Liberal to the max.
Oh, is it really? Okay, so it's a very liberalized country. Okay. That's dope.
Very interesting.
That's dope. I mean, that's probably like one of the few, well, not one of the few, but I know that former like Soviet states aren't as like liberal in a way, like, or democratic, I should say.
Yeah, democratic.
That's interesting, man. Mongolia, because Mongolia is massive. I mean, I know that I don't know if I'm actually traveling to Azerbaijan soon, which was a former Soviet state. You know Azerbaijan? Yeah. It's not too far. It's like, I mean, it's on a border with Russia as well, but on the opposite
side. Yeah,
literally the opposite end of Mongolia. But fuck, man.
Yeah, interesting.
Andrew, let's go to Mongolia and go see this bacon guy.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, what other countries do you suggest if we were to come out that direction?
Yeah.
What other countries would I suggest, bro? I've only been to like, let's say like South Asia. I haven't been to Kazakhstan. I don't think I've ever even been to like China besides for like a layover flight.
Wow. Yeah, it's interesting looking at the map. Like you guys were pretty much like in the same was it latitude as like North and South Korea. That's something I never really like kind of thought about in my mind.
Same latitude.
Or is it what's the horizontal? Is that long? That's
horizontal. It is latitude. Yeah.
Maybe I'm just looking at a messed up map, but yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I'm just learning more about just like this global connectedness that we all have. I mean, on Discord, I feel like at least Cam and I, we've talked to so many people from literally around the entire continent. Like, I mean, I think at this point, we've talked to people on just about like all 6 continents, besides Antarctica, of course. But one day that'll happen, I'm sure.
One day.
One day.
I feel like Russia's gonna start some shit. They're gonna try to invade it, and they're probably gonna like be successful and like start. I don't know, man. In fact, let me ask you, Bacon. What are your thoughts on the whole invasion of Ukraine? Being that like Ukraine was a former Soviet state, so.
I think it's very rude what they're doing. All right.
Very rude.
First of all, it's rude.
So rude.
Second of all, I feel like Russia's main reason was for justifying it was like, oh my God, once upon a time, the Ukraine territory was under our rule. We're just taking it back, right? And it's like, and I feel like that doesn't stand at all, because wasn't it like when Nazi Germany initially invaded Austria, that was their like line of reasoning. It's like, oh my God, Austria-Hungary was just recently under our rule. We're just reclaiming some of it,
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that doesn't stand at all. Especially now that
their reasoning is so poor. I think one of the other reasons that they invaded Ukraine was to stop "quote unquote" Nazism, which is just ridiculous, which is just so ridiculous. Because that's not even apparent in Ukraine.
They should be
Yeah.
going after the Canadians.
No, dude, what's going on over there, man? Crazy, crazy, crazy. I mean, what else has happened? I mean, how are gas prices for you, by the way? Because here it's like almost like it's basically, it's more than $5 a gallon here.
$5. How much is a gallon? Like 2.5 liters, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right, Andrew?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
So that's quite a lot, actually. Oh God, actually, the gas prices it affected us pretty hard initially. So when gas prices increase, everything else increases, right? Because for example, you need that gasoline in the truck to transport, let's say, bread or some other commodity all the way over here. Or let's say even just within the city, you need that gas to run some sort of machinery to make some bread, right?
Yeah.
And as such, a lot of commodities rose in price. And you see, like in Mongolia, unfortunately, like even if I go to America, right, I study at Harvard for 4 years, grab a doctorate somewhere else, come back here, the only thing that they're going to offer me is something slightly above an entry-level job. That's it.
Wow.
And so a lot of young people in Mongolia have no choice but to start from the very bottom, government positions, or work at like convenience stores or some other low-skilled job, and they get paid very little. And so there was a lot of protesting happening when all of a sudden these people could no longer afford their own living expenses with the wage that they were earning, and they were like protesting outside the governmental building. And I actually went there and took pictures and such myself to see what was happening, and it was like the most depressing sight to see. Oh my God.
Jeez. Yeah, to a lot of people, like what you said, they go to Harvard, get like the doctorate, like they get like a different education elsewhere. Like, do they often come back to Mongolia, or do they kind of stay? I can't remember what the term is, where like people are kind of like they use Mongolia pretty much for like one of these other countries, and they just ultimately go and use their education elsewhere.
It's like for the most part, that's what happens, right? Because oh my God, Mongolia's population is 3 million. It's like, oh my God, there are all these diasporas of Mongolians in Korea, Denver, like Russia, everywhere, and it's just sad that a lot of people don't like this country because of how unfair it is. But there are, for the most part, like I feel like everyone's line of reasoning, especially for young people, is that oh my God, we're gonna study somewhere else and we're gonna come back. I mean, we're gonna come back like 2 decades later when I'm like 40 and I have like a ton of money and I'm gonna start making my country better for my children, kind of shit.
Yeah.
Right.
Unfortunately, I'm not sure if that's if that's how it'll pan out.
Yeah.
But yeah,
that's interesting. Okay.
Yeah, that's interesting. So do you find Mongolians often moving to China for opportunity because it's right next door?
no.
No,
I
so
don't
China's
feel
just,
like many people move to China. The
Well,
anti-Chinese sentiment here is just too strong.
and that's and I've noticed that's pretty much everywhere in like Asia. Like not many, like I think most Asian countries just do not like China. Like does that make sense? Like is that true?
I feel like the hate is justified to a certain extent. As for me, I'm just racist. Don't quote me on that. Don't quote me on that. But if you're saying like, oh, let's say like the average person wants to look for opportunities, usually they'll go to Korea.
Korea.
Yeah.
Interesting. South Korea. Wow. Well, that's another place.
I'd be interested to go there for sure.
Seoul, yeah, Seoul. It's expensive, I think, in Korea though, if I'm not mistaken.
But like there are good opportunities actually. This friend of a relative actually went to Korea. He used to be just a driver here, and that's what he did for a while. But upon going to Korea, right, he started, with this job also as a driver, but he's now like some sort of interior designer or something.
Oh wow,
it's crazy.
Interesting. Yeah. So you find like a lot of people, at least in your area, do they go down those kind of creative paths like you do the graphic design, or at least you have like that as like a side passion, or like do a lot of people go like down the engineering, science, etc., kind of STEM paths?
Hold on. I don't think there's like the demographic here is necessarily too hard leaning on one or the other.
Mm.
And so I have no comment on that.
Gotcha. Interesting. Yeah. I mean, like Cam, for example, like if you had to redo everything, you said you would do like political science. I'm always wondering like what would I do? And I feel like if like I always wonder like how much would my like upbringing in terms of a different country, how would that sway the ultimate path I'm trying to go down, at least professionally?
Yeah, very true. I mean, it really does depend on your location. I mean, your location really does define who you are and who you could become and your potential. I mean, so many people have so much potential, but they're in an environment that inhibits them. Like, you know, there's so much potential in say like the Middle East, like countries like Iran or like, you know, and they're so inhibited by like their own government that they have no choice but to stay in there, and their potential just, you know, it goes to waste.
Mm-hmm.
But I agree with you that it really does depend on like location for, you know, for you to be set.
Yeah. I mean,
Very fortunate though, you know.
it is interesting now though that like a lot of these jobs are going remote. It's where like we actually could be like living in Mongolia, working in like Washington, DC.
Yeah, and I think that's the beauty of like the whole like Web3 thing is that, you know, because it requires, you know, to work remote and through like a computer, maybe only then it doesn't really matter where you are.
Mm-hmm.
But up until now, I feel like, you know, and if you wanted to become like a nurse, a doctor, a lawyer, engineer, really does depend on like your location.
Yeah.
Bacon, what do your parents do for a living?
Prefer not to say.
Okay.
I will say that my mom's what do you call it? A nature conservationist.
Okay.
So she works at this international organization that helps to conserve nature.
What is the terrain like there? Is it a lot of like nature that's like preserved there, or is that something that's like an ongoing trouble?
It is a huge trouble because, you know, there's still a lot of herders, right? You know, like 2/3 of the population still live in the countryside, and unfortunately, we have too much livestock. I feel like I heard our livestock headcount is around like 70 million right now, when it should be around 54 million. Like I could get like 8 and like 5 cows, 2 cattle, and like 1 camel just for myself if all of it was just assigned individually.
Jeez.
And so there's a lot of overgrazing happening, and you know, unfortunately, not enough people are like protecting old sacred lands and like just littering everywhere. A lot of travelers.
Yeah,
so that's pretty hard to deal with.
Yeah. Dang. Yeah, so I mean, I know Cam and I like both, but we need to like de-stress or get away from everything. Like we oftentimes just go on a walk out in nature.
Yeah.
Is that something that you do as well, or do you have any kind of like ways to decompress and chill out?
I'd say it's literally just exercising as hard as I can, just going on a run or something.
Nice.
Yo, what's it like in the States actually? Because, you know, I've never been outside of like this little area in Asia, and because of that, I wonder what it's like where in America it's huge, right? Every single state is like its own continent, and then basically with all of its own unique terrain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true. Andrew, you want to answer that one?
Yeah, so I would definitely agree that each state is different, and even like sub-state, it differs a lot. So like me personally, most of my life, at least in terms of living, my entire life has been in Virginia. And so with that, like right now I live in like the suburbs where it's a lot of just like organized streets, a lot of homes, a lot of nice, comfortable living for a lot of people here. At least in terms of like the families that like live here, most of them work for the government, so they have like very stable jobs, and with that a lot of money coming in, and therefore like the whole area is actually like well built up and continuously expanding. But then Cam and we went to school like university down in Southwest Virginia, and that was like the complete opposite side of the spectrum. I don't know, Cam, want to provide some detail for that?
Yeah, so I mean it's I mean, man, it was basically in like the middle of nowhere. I mean, you know, it was there. Yeah, I mean, like I swear to God, it was like farmland. It was like farm country. I think within the whole campus, you know, within the whole university, I mean, don't get me wrong, the university is beautiful. You could actually look it up. Virginia Tech, it's called Virginia Tech. Type in Virginia Tech campus. It looks like Hogwarts. It's very nice. It's a very beautiful campus. But the thing is, the only problem with it is that since it was in such a rural area, there really wasn't much to do there. You know, like I think throughout the whole university there was maybe 5 bars total that people would go to, or you know, it just you know, and the population was very minimal. You know, there wasn't that many people within the area as well. But yeah, I mean, you know, and here's the thing: when it comes to the States, places differ within 20 minutes. So, for example, this area that Andrew and I are living, it's we're in Northern Virginia, but if you just go 20 minutes out, you know, northeast, then you're in DC. You're in the nation's capital, which is literally crazy. I mean,
it's completely different as well.
It's completely different.
Just in terms of the people that are there, just the overall kind of like the sentiment of just the area, like people hold themselves differently there compared to all the other places that I've been to.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's a different environment. It's, you know, you'd see a lot more, you know, I'm sure there's probably, that's like the melting pot of America. So I'm sure there's a lot of Mongolian people in DC. I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't doubt if there's a good amount of Mongolian people in DC that I just haven't come across yet. But you get everything. You get everything. Everyone from across the world is in DC, and it's literally 20 minutes away here.
Yeah. If you had to come to the States, is there any particular spot you'd want to come to or that you've heard about and want to check out?
I don't have a list in my mind right now, but like first of all, I'll go straight to DC. That's where one of my friends is, and I haven't seen her in like 3 years, dude.
Oh wow, interesting. Oh, so there are Mongolians there.
Virginia Tech, man. You guys went to like a prestigious school.
Yeah.
I'm glad you think so. That's awesome. No, honestly, I'm very grateful for my time there. It really got a lot out of us that we needed to kind of mature through, and ultimately, I think we came out better individuals. So, I mean, I owe Virginia Tech a lot, not necessarily my money that they're constantly asking me for, but yeah, I'm ready to move on to bigger and better things at this point.
Yeah,
that's great to hear. Oh, Andrew, a bit of a tangent, but is your shirt written in Hebrew?
Yes.
So there's also Arabic too. Yeah.
I think it just says peace in all 3 languages.
Who gave you that shirt? That's a really nice shirt.
Michael. I think
Michael gave you that shirt.
Somehow gave it to me. Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah, I used to get called. A lot of people always thought I was Jewish, and there's like a few times I was.
I swear to God,
Yeah, right?
I thought he was Jewish the first time I met him.
I can't remember what was going on, but I know there was some like anti-Semitic thing going on where like I was walking on a boardwalk one time, and actually people started hating on me, thinking I was like a Jewish person, and that was the first time I literally ever gotten hated on for something like that. Like my skin color, I've never gotten like racial slurs before, but honestly, this was the first thing, and it felt different. It really opened my eyes to a lot.
That's crazy.
So
that
bizarre.
Yeah.
Well, do you know? Wait, where was that? Where were you?
I believe this was Delaware.
In Delaware.
I think
Delaware.
So.
And
Delaware.
who were the people that were doing this to you?
Dude, honestly, they looked very similar to me. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know who they were, but they looked like they were probably on spring break from some college.
So they just wanted to mess with you. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Damn, dude, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Now, Bacon, in Mongolia, I'm just curious, like, what is the one nation that Mongolia, besides China, which one nation that Mongolia does not like really like?
What we don't really like. I guess we hate North Koreans.
Oh, North Koreans. Okay.
Well, I don't know. I don't think there's any nation that we particularly hate because, you know, our geography is just set up in a way where, like, for the most part, even when we were gigantic, right? Like, you know, anybody that we could have possibly had problems with, like all the way down in the Middle East, for example, they're so far away now that I don't think it's an issue. Oh, there actually was this North Korean refugee that I once met here.
Oh, really? You met there's a North Korean refugee in Mongolia?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I remember it was like I only discovered this way back in like 10th grade, and or was I even like in 8th grade? I discovered that like one of my seniors was like this North Korean refugee, and
Wow.
I got to talk to her a lot, and I don't know, maybe she's coming back. It's been a while since she graduated, right?
Wow.
Interesting, man. Yeah, what was like the history like in like your education? Like, did they go over the whole world, or was it strictly like limited to kind of your region?
Well, I went to a private school, but I know for a fact that every school, regardless of, you know, your public or private alignment, we have to follow the Mongolian national education curriculum.
Mm.
And that in and of itself covers quite a lot, I think.
Okay.
Like each history book, it goes back and forth between Mongolian and world history. So in 6th grade, you learn Mongolian history, 7th world.
Gotcha.
And
I think we
so
did something
there's
similar.
quite like a
Gotcha.
diverse education.
Yeah, so you're overall like you're happy with everything that you've been taught, at least in terms of the education in the area.
I have no complaints.
Gotcha. True. And is
I
going to
hate my
university.
current school.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Is it common? Is that kind of like the track that most people take?
Like just straight up going to a Mongolian public school?
I mean, like going like for us. I mean, we went to high school, and then without even thinking about it, I went to college. Like I applied. I didn't really consider any other life path at the time. Is that something similar for you all?
Yeah, I think going straight to college has become the default, but there's just like this new debate on whether or not you should just stay in the country or go somewhere else. Because you know, there's this new trend or at least line of thought where it's better to just get your undergrad degree just somewhere here, right? And then you go abroad for your master's. And so, you know, if you already have that work experience from here and you have that master's degree, then odds are you could end up with like a better paying job or just like, you know, something like that.
Now, ideally, what would you want to do for the rest of your life?
Ideally, this is gonna sound so cringy, but I just want to help people.
Okay, well, help. Well, that's very interesting. I mean, in what sense? Help people in what sense? Like medically or what?
I just want to help people. That's all. It's I don't know. I feel like for a while when I was a child, I used to think being a doctor would be awesome, and I don't know why, but I guess I held on to that core belief because I'll just say biology is one of the core classes that I took.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if that was the right decision. I don't think I'm ready to be a doctor, but
We actually
I decided that, you know, I shouldn't be saving lives from an office, right? And I don't know, lately it's just kind of getting shaky of what I'm going to do once my 4 years are up. Because I've considered enlisting to something like the Peacekeepers.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I would definitely agree. In terms of like trying to save lives, it's hard to really feel like you're making that kind of meaningful impact to people when you're behind a computer screen, maybe like sitting at a desk in a cubicle. So that's why I think both Cam and I have also gone down that kind of like medical path where you kind of want that human interaction where it really kind of does feel like you're genuinely helping someone in the moment.
Yeah, it's crazy, you know, because so Andrew and I, we're both, right now, we're both medical assistants in clinics. And so like, you know, I guess we're kind of doing our good deed every day by just working there. I mean, would you say that you're doing your good deed, Andrew?
Yeah, I mean, it feels like there's levels to it all. Where like this is not like we're saving lives as doctors. It honestly feels more like I'm just like charting things on a computer. But I mean, I do actually really enjoy kind of just connecting with individuals. I mean, like this, we're talking on Zoom, but like again, it's kind of a very similar thing where I'm just I'm asking them about like their diagnoses and all that. But again, I'm just kind of talking to people and connecting with them.
Yeah, exactly.
Is there a quota now? Or like, what are you suggesting, Andrew? Like, yo, I typed up Mr. Smith's papers. That's filled up my goodness book.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why I'm doing all these spiritual DAO things. Like I feel like my quota is maybe way higher than the medical assistant can fill for me. So I'm trying to get it outside. I outsource it, but also, I mean, honestly, I even wonder if there's even like a limit to it all. Like, am I really going to be satisfied if I go to become a doctor? Like maybe there's like an itch that really isn't going to be scratched by like a traditional job as of right now. So that's why I'm kind of just trying to expand my skill sets and my experiences in all these different routes as well. See like what maybe my passions are elsewhere. But as of right now, I'm enjoying myself.
Yeah, I feel you.
So Bacon, do you have a significant other?
No.
No significant others? It's okay.
Do you like Mongolian? I guess whatever kind of gender or sexuality, but like, are you all interested in like the other?
No, bro. I'm not that other path kind of guy.
Gotcha.
Sheesh, it's certain when it comes to like finding a significant other, it's certainly getting shaky. I went to a house party recently,
Uh,
and like this really cute girl, I think she kept trying to drug me.
Wow.
she kept trying. She wanted to drug you.
Like I'm almost positive. I was just like, "Hi, how are you? Like, what's your name?" And then like fast forward 20 minutes, she's like touching, pulling, trying to get me to drink this one specific beer that she set out for me.
What?
Wow.
That's not happening, bro.
Oh no, that's so
Jeez.
weird, man.
Wow, interesting. I mean, I guess that is something that's not uncommon here, unfortunately.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. I'd say it's
Both ways.
not common, but yeah, I mean,
Both ways.
is like the party life in Mongolia. Is that something that's like kind of noteworthy?
I don't think it differs too much. Disclaimer, I am not some sort of crazy party animal. It has been exactly 36 weeks and 3 days since I've last even had a drop of alcohol.
Interesting.
Right.
Wow. Yeah, I feel that. I'm not a huge fan myself. I mean, it's all, I don't know. I think everyone has that kind of vice that it's best to identify before it identifies you.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. You know, I'm curious. What is the main religion in Mongolia?
It's Buddhism for sure.
It's
Oh,
Buddhism.
wow.
Yeah.
Buddhism.
Interesting.
Buddha.
Yeah, there's a lot that I'm interested in that religion, but I really have not gone as deep into it as I honestly would have liked to at this point.
I feel like I don't. Besides just research, I think you kind of need to just like learn from another Buddhist, right?
Mm.
And find your own set of practices that appeases to your own sorts of ideals.
Yeah, I mean, we have people in this spiritual DAO community that they're actually going to pack their bags and they're going to go to somewhere in Asia and become like a Buddhist monk and kind of live that life. And when COVID hit, they pretty much had to like kind of put that on pause. And now they're just here in our community. So I feel like there's only so much I can really learn from them just from like these kind of meetings. But man, just like hearing them talk, it's just like they go off and like they're connected to something that I don't feel I'm connected to. Like they're just going on and on. But honestly, it really is an interesting experience to be a part of.
When is Andrew gonna go to Nepal? Send us a vlog.
I'd love to. Southeast Asia? I would love to go.
Southeast.
I know one of my roommates actually, I think he's in Vietnam teaching English there. And I think I think once I come to Southeast Asia, I don't know if I'm going to come back. That's my only issue.
Dude, Vietnam. And see, that's the thing is that it's so cheap in Vietnam. It's so cheap. Like, I mean,
interesting.
Yeah. Do you know what, Bacon? Have you ever had pho?
Yeah, of course.
You've had pho? Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Yeah. What is your favorite food? In Mongolian food or anything?
I'd say I could go for like bots, I guess. It's bots basically just large dumplings.
Dumplings.
Yeah, large dumplings. What do you call it? Soup dumplings? Like it's the larger ones. The ones here aren't completely made of soup. I don't know. It's awesome. Convenient to just have on the go.
Yeah, it looks really tasty. I have some images pulled up.
It looks like we have less than a minute.
Yeah. Well, this is, I guess, the end of our Zoom call and our podcast. But Bacon or Tumee, honestly, I really did enjoy talking to you today. And tomorrow we had that meeting at 7:30. I guess both times. If you're able to join, then we'll be there just chatting about the next steps.
Thank you guys for having me today.
Oh, thank you for coming, man.
Yeah, I know it's early for you out there, so definitely enjoy the rest of your day, and hopefully you learned something about us, and we certainly learned quite a lot about you.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Do we have any like ending phrases that we like
anything
break up meetings with?
Disease.
That's perfect. All right, well, Bacon, take care, and we'll talk again maybe tomorrow.
Peace.